Hi there, welcome back to Not Another Budget. I'm Nicole, and I am completely bypassing my normal intro on this first video of 2025 because this isn't meant to be the first video of 2025. Your girl here sat down and did a small change cash stuffing and put some things in envelopes and did some of this and started to film these things. And then unlocked the phone and deleted the footage. Don't know how, but it's happened. And you can't go back and refilm a cash stuffing video and a savings challenge video when you've already crossed the things off. So, I'm having to refilm 2 videos, which I hadn't planned on refilming, hence why this is coming out at quite late on a Sunday night. This is also partly an attempt, which my whole day has been, to wear myself out before I go back to school tomorrow. So wish me luck. I'm currently cooking a chicken at 8 o'clock at night. I'm hoping I'm not going to fall asleep and forget while the chicken's in the oven, and this video is coming out at 9 p.m. on a Sunday and utterly wrecking my algorithm. So just a quick catch up on the video that you won't see because it doesn't exist anymore. I did my pensions saving update, an extra £950 in blue on this. Brilliant. We've all seen that. We're all happy. Brilliant. Well done. Number 2, I'm working on one of my own designs. Digital challenges only at the minute because I'm not yet ready to do a physical product launch. This is my Jade challenge where each crystal is 5 and you save £350 overall. Now, controversially, I am actually saving for events and gifting first, and that's because in the 60s, my grandparents got it on and decided to have my parents a week apart. In February. Yeah, thanks guys. So I have 5 weeks. Try and fully fund this challenge. It's going well. £45 was saved into that. That one's done. Secondly, thirdly, oh, goodness gracious me, Bowie is judging me. It's fine. He tried to eat said chicken before it even went into the oven. We're having an argument today. Thirdly, I attempted in that video to go ahead and be really organised and didn't absolutely prep at all my 1 to 100 mini challenges that you've seen me do, where you save £50 and 50p. So because of that, and because I discovered that whilst filming that video, I've therefore committed to the 365 days penny challenge, of which I have crossed off £31.75 already. Voila, you're all caught up. There we go. Right, we are now going to actually talk about what I wanted this video to be, which is my January week 1 budget. And yes, thank you, Train. I am aware that you have not yet seen my week 6 of 6 catch up. That is going to be a video coming out in 2 days' time. So that is going to be my Tuesday budget with, I have the intention of releasing a video every 2 days. We're going to see how that goes. I kind of manage Budgetmas, so it's fine. If you haven't already cottoned on to the fact that I'm a bit of a chaotic budgeter and you're new here because you've decided that 2025 is the year that you're going to get your finances order, welcome on board the chaos train. Hi, it's lovely to have you. I have a mad cat called Bowie who's got a terminal heart condition and yet doesn't act like it. And things never go to plan in my budgets, including this one. Let's zoom in and show you, and hope to God I don't delete this footage. Zoom in, zoom in, zoom in. Zoom in. Okay, what do we got for you? Well, I had a couple of focuses. We did Oxford, I did some batch cooking, and I have done a fair amount on Vinted, and that de-stashing process gave me the physical cash that I went ahead and stuffed today, along with a little bit of change for my own cash purchases as well. I've not done a cash stuffing for weeks 1 to 3, and I'm not at the point where I can launch my physical products because I didn't realise this, but when I launched my physical products, you guys wiped me out. Literally, I was down to like 1s and 2s and not a lot of anything. So that's fantastic. And I now have a new laminator courtesy of Ko-fi, and then getting some paper and some laminating sheets for that meant that I have not pulled a coffee income in this week. There'll be a little bit coming in for week 2. But yeah, you guys just were absolutely amazing. And I want to make sure that when I relaunch, everything has got really good stock levels, and I'm doing that work now. And that's also allowing me as well to listing time is spent on my Vinted / de-stashing session. So my wages, if I look at my income, was £1,987.36 as planned, and then destashing was £72.51. Now, in total, I did cash stuff £76.75. The difference was the little bit of change I had from cash purchases that I'd made on my own flexible spending categories. And my goal is, as much as possible, to pull my destashing income into savings, because I do have, in the case of events and gifting, I don't have very long to get that pot filled, and I want to fill that pot because otherwise you'll forever dip into it. And in my case, it's 2 parents' birthdays within a week of each other, 5 and 6 weeks away respectively. I've then got a 60th wedding anniversary for my grandparents on the beginning of March, and then a week after that we have UK Mother's Day. So there's a lot that goes on quickly. Then I get a nice bit of a break, but I'll never hit the grand total if I'm dipping into it fairly quickly. So my goal is to get as close to it as possible within this next 4-week period. So £72.51 was what I destashed, giving me a total income of £2,059.87 to play with across both savings and income. Now, if we look at my total expenditure, not everything has gone out. Some of that was a purposeful decision by myself to move my water and energy payments to the end of the month, and some of it was looking at the overall dates of when things are going to be called for and generated, and realising that they're not even happening until the end of the month either. I did go through, pay my rent, my December Wi-Fi and December mobile. I've put massive question marks next to my car tax because that's not yet been taken, and I thought it would have been. And I have gone back over and checked and haven't seen it be taken anywhere. So I've also double checked and my car is still taxed. So I'm not quite sure if the bank holiday, whatever, Christmas, like New Year holiday has had an impact there. I don't know. Spotify and YouTube is back, as well as Amazon Prime, and my cloud has gone out as well. Microsoft hasn't yet been taken. So my total actual spend was £1,054.28, giving me a rollover of £1,005.59. Now, in terms of the savings that I've seen, as you can see here, events, which is my notes, so I had some notes that I put in, was £45, and then my outings, which is coins, is £31.75. And again, I'm picking outings because end of March I'd go out with my Duke of Edinburgh award scheme, and that requires costs. So again, coming up quite early. So £76.75 was what was stuffed. As I've said, the bulk of that being made up by my destashing amount and a bit of change from my flexible categories over here, giving me a rollover of £928.84. If we come up to my flexible expenses, here is where things were different. I did have Bowie booked in for the vets. I looked at how much medication he had left, and he had a good amount of medication left. And I looked at how he had been. I had booked his appointment for the Friday of this week just gone, and had been out for an incredibly long time the day before doing my Oxford day trip, which I'd planned in. And I looked at him in the morning, and he was super cuddly and just wanting lots of attention, having been left the night before. He was a bit low energy anyway, and it was grey and miserable, and he gets so distressed by going in the cat carrier and going in the car. I just looked at it on balance and went, I'm not going to drag you to a vet's to have a blood taken. He was left the day before for quite some time. That would have upset him because of the type of cat he is and the bond that we have. So on balance, I made the decision to cancel that vet's visit for the next 3 weeks or so. So this may pop up further down in my budget. And then also on the basis that looking at how much medication he had left as well, therefore didn't need to buy those meds, and that freed up the money to do some other things later on. My food was £84.98, so slightly over on that one. My fuel was down £59 against a budgeted spend of £65. Cat food is £7.50. I've not had to do a lot with that because I didn't let myself run all the way down to zero, so we're still good for another 3 or so weeks there. And the meds, like I said, was budgeted £185. £73.18 is just for his heart meds. There's no thyroid in there at all. Household and toiletry came in just about on the money, £44.30, and I think on balance I have under budgeted for that. I'm okay on a couple of things for the next week or so, but I will need to top up some other stuff. And then my Oxford outing, I'd budgeted £75, it was £88.03, because I'm not, like, food, oh my gosh, like, tells how often it's been since I've not eaten out. And then spending was £52.52 against a budgeted spend of £60. So my actual total flexible expenditure spend was £409.51, giving me a rollover of £519.33. Now, shortly after I did this budget, I realised that I hadn't accounted for repaying my mum back, and then also I had put my water and energy first in the month when it tends to be an end of month bill for me, mainly because I begrudge paying for what I use versus what I'm charged. I do begrudge that, given the condition of both of the services that I receive. So I'm quite open about that. You may choose to disagree or agree or not. I do pay for the service that I use, but certainly it's a bit, I'm not a fan of water company shenanigans, let's just put it that way, and my water provider is up there in kind of your top 3 worst offenders. So I made the decision, after having filmed the weekly budget breakdown and going, this is what my budget is going to be, that I would actually pay those at the end of the month and transfer that money over to me paying my mum back, who lent me £100. So someone had commented and said, "You've forgotten about your mum," and I was like, yeah, I had done at the time, but it's coming in an upcoming video because this is what I'm going to do instead, and this is going to move to the end of the month, so there will be some jiggery pokery, as I call it, around my budget in the next coming weeks or so, but that's absolutely fine. What I will say is that I'm definitely well stocked on food, and I actually need to eat some food from my freezer before I do any more buying of food to freeze, and I've also got a full tank of fuel, so on that I can technically go for 2 weeks without topping up, but I do like to top up at half a tank and just give me that as well. I have no more major outings or activities planned either for the rest of the month, so that is it. What also then happened with my rollover of £519.33 was I had been due to repay a friend who lent me £400 total in August, and that was when I had no income, I had a mental breakdown, and therefore wasn't in a position to go and earn extra money and complete the shifts part-time that I'd signed up to do, and that was due to be paid back by November. Now, on the basis of everything being a bit of a mess over that whole 6-week period, she was quite understanding and said that, she'll happily wait for it, but if it was possible for me to pay her back in January, could I? Obviously without putting myself into financial difficulty. So when I looked at what was going on with Bowie's Vets, and I looked at what was going on with how much medication he had left, I went ahead and repaid that person in the entirety. So I paid a £300 payment to debt. Those are both individuals that I know directly. They're not to debt repayment agencies or lenders or anything like that. And that's the only debt action that I will be taking, and those are both kind of were due to be paid, in this case back in November, and there's obviously there's a certain amount of goodwill there. I will therefore update my debt kind of tracker to reflect that, but that'll be done off camera, and is very much kind of separate to my consumer debt that I have. Obviously, if I go ahead with a vet appointment for Bowie in January, I will need to find the £100 to do that, and the same again for his medication, but I am heavily pushing the destashing, and also I am in quite a good position for non-perishable and pantry food. I'm trying to be a bit more smarter with the perishable food that I do buy, in terms of kind of fruit and veg and things like that, and it's mainly fruit, to be fair. And again, the same with fuel. I will just be commuting to and from work, and my work is in the outskirts of a local town, so I can get to a supermarket without going out of my way. It may not be the best one, but I'm not having to undertake any additional journeys there. I spent most of this last week just trying to recover, because whilst I didn't sound like I had cold and flu symptoms, and I certainly didn't come over with that aspect of it, the runny nose and the etc., it was the energy drain, completely low energy, and really just struggling to do anything without feeling like needing, and in some cases taking, a nap afterwards. And I've been trying to build up those energy reserves ahead of going and returning to teaching tomorrow, which no one is looking forward to, but there we go. And therefore I've just been very kind of low impact, I've done loads of photography, set up loads of drafts for Vinted. I've currently got £74 worth of pending Vinted sales, so that's a good sign going forward. And if I have to pull from there to kind of cover the things like this, I will, but their main use is to be used towards savings aggressively. Obviously I have YouTube paying out as well at some point, and I will have things like Facebook Marketplace to do. So my January is very much a kind of getting things up to speed with my physical products, looking and seeing what the options are with regards to international postage, so that I can offer some international postage for my viewers abroad that want it and don't want to partake in digital only products, as well as my UK viewers as well, and just making sure that I've got plenty of stock there. So my January is just being at home, knuckling down, sense checking, sorting out, starting that destash process. If I happen to eat healthily as a side result, or cut down my portions, or do an evening facial cleanse, or journaling or gratitude, that's fantastic, but it's not the primary goal of me in winter. Me in winter is just get through January and February, get through that return, get back in the swing of things and get a process up and going. I'm definitely going to try and be stricter with my boundaries with regards to work, and stricter with my time as well, given the state my school is in currently. And that's all I'll say with regards to that. I'm not ruling out a potential school move for September next year. I need to see a significant change, because towards the end of that last term, not helped by the fact that obviously we were put on a 6-week payday, things were feeling and were chaotic and unorganised and incompetent to such an extreme level that it made me very, very quickly realise this is not a healthy environment to stay in, not necessarily teaching as a career, but certainly within that school. And do I want to put that my career expectations at risk potentially? So that may also be going on over the next 5 or 6 weeks. So I am just going to that may bleed into the background. Like I said, I'm quite a chaotic budgeter. I think most of us are, even when we try and come on and do a really polished video. And sometimes you just have to grit your teeth in frustration. And there was quite a lot of frustration expressed prior to me starting filming this. But yeah, I wanted to get a video out, obviously having taken a bit of a break this week to recover from Budgetmas and just kind of try and get my health back up to a decent level. But all in all, week 1 of 5 is done. Let me know what you think down below, and I will see you on Tuesday for my week 6 of 6 recap, closing out that whole 6-week period. I hope you have a fantastic budgeting week wherever you are in the world. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe if you would be so kind, if you haven't already, and I will see you all very, very soon. Bye bye for now.